The best thing about kicking, developing the skill to become a better kicker, is it is a skill, which means it can be developed and improved. So a lot of people are born and have innate ability to kick really well, okay, and they have a natural ability to kick at a decent level, have nice flexibility, and it seems a little bit easier for those people to kick well. Okay, but the best part is anybody can improve their kicking ability from where it is now, because it is a skill, it can be improved. So with these tips that we're going to use today, hopefully your kicking will improve. Before we get into the video, make sure and hit the subscribe button down here so you don't miss any of our videos. Okay, so in today's video what we want to discuss is how to get better kicking, basically through more flexibility tied in with strength and kicking ability. So the main goal here is to focus on improving the height of your kicking and also your ability to kick in a better way. A lot of people, when they want to improve this skill, they focus on just stretching. And I hear people say a lot of time, oh, I need to stretch more, I need to become more flexible to improve my kicking. But that's only one part of the equation. You also need to couple that with the ability to control your muscles in this range, and also then put that all together with things such as balance and kicking ability in general, in kicking exercises that are specific to what you're actually going to be doing. So just using flexibility and having great flexibility by itself does not guarantee great kicking. So we need to couple it all together, and today that's what we're going to show you how to do. So the approach that we're going to use today is starting off with dynamic flexibility. This is quite important because all our kicks are done in a dynamic fashion. Okay, so you need that range of motion in dynamic flexibility to be able to do that. Of course, we also need to have a decent range of motion in general, which needs to come from some static stretching and in particular with some passive flexibility. So the ability to extend that range of motion, and then that's where additional height and range will come into play. Then once we have the flexibility covered, we need to build some strength. Okay, and once we have strength in the most of the predominant kicking muscles, we can couple that together with some good kicking exercises, which we'll show you today to ensure that your kicking improves. Make sure to like, share and subscribe if this video provides you any value and improves your kicking. It's very important when you do focus on stretching that you try to keep your dynamic flexibility and stretching routine towards the beginning of the class. This will help set up in terms of getting the muscles warm, extending the range of motion for the class, as well as making sure that there's no loss of power or speed which may hamper and take away from the class you have planned. Towards the end of the class, it's important to use your static stretching then, when the body is fully warm and you don't intend on doing anything else afterwards. This is particularly the case for long stretches over 30 seconds and also things such as key and F stretching and things like that. So the first thing we're going to focus on in our dynamic range is linear kicks. So basically anything that goes up in a straight line fashion. That's very important for predominantly using the hamstrings, which is used in all the kicking that we do. Okay, so there's lots of ways you can do that. You can use the wall first of all, and you can do front rising kicks. Place two hands in the wall, make sure everything is in a straight line. Breathe out as you go up. So take a deep breath, breathe out, and relax. The reason that the breath's important because if you hold the breath, the kick won't go as effective and as high. So if I hold the breath here, the kick is quite limited. If I do the same kick with a breath out, it's much better. So make sure you're not holding your breath on the exercises. Another way that you can improve the dynamic flexibility, focusing on the kicking leg of the kick. So if you have a partner who holds your side kick, get the body tall and aligned in a straight line. Toes are sideways still, not turned up. From here you just stretch down to the hamstring, backwards as opposed to sideways, and back up. Okay, you want to hold this for less than 5 seconds to get the dynamic range. some other ideas for using the same type of motion is you can use a hoop. This is good with the kids especially, and just focus on getting on the leg through, okay? Okay, so next what we're going to do is work on the side line kicks. So we've done our front line kicks, anything that's going in a straight line, working on the hamstrings predominantly. Now we're going to focus on anything that's in a sideline fashion, which is going to work more on the inside of the leg here, and to focus on the kicks like turning kick, double chaggy, side kick, and kicks in a similar line. So same thing, you're going to set up here again, nice and tall body, everything comes in a straight line again, and just working dynamic flexibility up and down, side rising. Okay, these exercises can be done with a partner as well. You can have a partner just holding a target and again working on the sideline. It can be done many ways. So once you have this motion in a dynamic fashion, also can be done kicking, start and just build the height. Okay, anything in the sideline fashion will build the flexibility for those muscles. This one is to focus on the adductors to get that sideline kick, so all your linear kicks. This will help for side splits, very simple, but we're going to do it in a rep fashion, again to make it more dynamic. The trick for this one is to use your socks, just to get a little slip on the mats, so there's not friction to hold you back a little bit. So just make sure everything is in a straight line, slide, particularly you pick one leg, and then just slide as far as you can from there, up, try again, slide, focus on one leg, slide as far as you can, extend, and back up. When you do this one, make sure your hands are nice and close to the body. So if I do it from side this, you don't want your hands to be too far out. Keep them nice and close to the body, like this. Okay, and the final, last dynamic range we're going to work on is using line of back kicks. Okay, so really focusing on the front line here, muscles, including your quad, hip flexor, and up into the psoas muscle as well, and including some other muscles as well as the standing leg hamstring. Okay, so the setup is quite similar. Get tall here. Now, for this, you can have the heel coming up in a straight line, or you can have it bending at the top. So I'll show you the two variations. So first one, straight leg, and then the second one, you can bend and try to touch the back of the head. Okay, so that's the dynamic flexibility for those ranges, and again you can do these in various different sequences and exercises using that same type of motion. So a lot of these dynamic sequences can be also done in a static fashion just by holding the stretch a little longer at the biggest motion. So if you hold that at the longest range, then that will be much better in terms of a static stretch if you hold it more than 5 seconds. So although you don't need a traditional split kick, and certainly by no means you need a full split, either side splits or front splits to do any decent kicking, okay, but it will help certain muscles, especially if you hold it in a static range. In the front split in particular, we're going to focus here on the hamstring, okay, and also if you do it correctly, you'll feel a little bit of a stretch on the quad and the hip flexor muscles as well, which are quite important. So on the setup for this, you start nice and tall with 2 knees, extend 1 foot as far as you can. Keep this leg straight the whole time, that's the goal. Try not to have this bend in any way, because then you're taking away from the hamstring. Once you have it set up, toes are up high, extend, and then from here you can just push the back leg back. Once you're in a decent stretch and feel a small little stretch here, you can hold this position. Make sure you have one hand on either side of the knee for correct support. Try not to be on the same side, okay, and that will help your belly keep forward towards the toes, which will help the alignment. Also, on the back leg, make sure your knee is facing the floor in a straight line as opposed to sideways. This is a different type of split, and for the one we're working on now, we just want to include muscles here, as we said, in the hip flexor and the quad, so we want to have that knee facing down to include this on our stretch. Okay, so this next one is going to focus on the hamstrings predominantly. That's why we need to keep focus on the toes up. Okay, and also we're going to work a little bit on the obliques as well, and your core muscles, which are very important as it's all tied together, as well as keeping your body upright and in strong posture when you're kicking. So, just extend the legs in here, Once you're in a nice stretch, you're going to reach to the opposite side with the opposite hand. So the first step can be here. Again, you see the stretch coming along all the way here on the obliques, important muscles that will need to stretch. If that's easy, you can go extend over the head a little bit, dropping the ear close to the knee, and then switch to the opposite side. This can be done in a dynamic fashion or again in a static motion, holding the stretch for a little bit longer. Another tip when you want to increase the knee position and chamber position to get a little bit higher is try to replicate some of your stretches to look like that motion. So if we look at this motion here, keeping the knee high, foot turn, straight leg, bent leg, we can replicate that in some stretches. So some ways we can do this is with a frog stretch. So we can go here, we're getting that chamber position. Then if you want to straighten one leg, pose up, just like we said, get the body tall. This is essentially the same position. From here, if you want to get the body more upright, you can lean the ear forward. I can feel that on the inside. Pull back, lean, pull back, lean, pull back. It's important that you keep it in a straight line as best as possible. Try to bring the ear to the knee rather than to the front or to the back. Another stretch that also replicates the kicking motion a little bit is what's called a side sit, also called Cossack. So basically you sit down, keep one leg straight, chest up. Again, keep that straight line as best as you can. Don't leave the body go forward too much. So you want to sit tall here, and if you want to replicate even closer to kicking, just turn the body slightly towards the bent leg. Again, this is replicating the chamber position, focusing on this area here, again for the kick. You can just switch. Again, this can be done dynamically by changing from side to side, also building a little bit of strength, or you can hold it for a little bit longer, get that static stretch, maybe towards the end of the session. So one stretch you can do with a partner that is passive stretching, and also you can use as a T&F stretch, would be to use the butterfly in this motion, working again on the inside muscles here, where the partner will push down on the knees. You got to make sure that the heels are close to the body. They'll push, put some nice force on it. Make sure you communicate together in this one, that's important. Once you're pushing a little more, you can leave the body go forward if you want. This will definitely help with your chamber position as well. And then you're going to push a little further until you're at your max. And then when you're close to your maximum, you're going to push against the hands. So I'm going to push for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I will relax and my partner will push even further. You can see the extended range of motion gain there, and that's your extended passive range extended a little bit, where you try to hold that for a little bit longer. So to finish up towards our flexibility, before we move on to our strength and kicking exercises, we want to focus on the side kick position and using that as a passive stretch with a partner. Okay, this is to extend your passive range, which you can use your full flexibility into. So that's your extended range of motion. The passive range is where somebody can hold and have your range of motion extended. We have an active range, which is where we can hold it by ourselves, no problem. Okay, and then beyond that, you have a little bit more flexibility range, which is called passive. So this is what we're going to work on a little bit now. You set up the wall, pose, turn, body position nice and tall like a regular side kick hold. You hold the kick, your partner will take the kick, they will push it up, extend the range. Now this is my passive flexibility range. Then I hold that kick. Once it's okay and comfortable, you can go a little higher. Holding the kick again, focus on keeping the toes turned, body position upright. And then once you have this done, you can hold it when your partner leaves go. And you can do this for maybe 10 seconds. That's you then actively trying to bridge the gap between your active and passive range, while also working on the strength and control. One of the biggest things when you want to kick better is really focusing on your knee in particular. So if you have a low knee, your kicking won't be as effective, but if you can pull that knee high and then shoot from there, your kicking will be much, much better. So the reason that I hold people back sometimes is just due to a lack of strength and flexibility combined. We want to focus on that next. One tip to get the knee higher is just focus on chamber raises. So this can be done in a dynamic fashion again. You can use a hoop or you can just simply use a wall. Make sure your foot faces where you are facing. Here, raise the knee and just knee up and down. And that just helps with getting the knee a little higher and building a little bit of flexibility in that dynamic range. Next, we focus on how to build strength in that range. Another little tip to get the knee higher in the chain position, which is a big focus of getting higher kicks, is to use a beanbag. So if the knee is too low, the beanbag will fall off. So we just use the beanbag to make sure that it stays high. So the higher the chamber, the better. And then you can focus on just holding this position. Maybe you could have that as a game between two students where they will contest to see who can hold it the highest or maybe the longest. Okay, now that we have the flexibility covered, we can move on to the building strength in the relative muscles, and we'll particularly look at some areas that are usually weak, such as the adductors and areas which tend to cause us issues when we kick. So one of the first exercises is just building strength on the inside of the muscles here, which is very important and is usually a big area of weakness which holds people back from using their chamber at a higher level. They may have the flexibility, but they don't have the strength and control. So a good exercise for this is to get the toes directly forwards, just beyond the shoulder and a half wide, almost like a sitting stance. Then you get the knuckles on the ground, and from here you want to open the chest high and keep this position. This is called the gorilla exercise. Very, very good. If you hold this, you feel it on the inside, and squeeze the floor behind in between without leaving the knees cave. So you gotta push, keep the chest high, and hold this position. You really feel this on the inside of the muscles here, really building that strength for our kicking muscles in particular. Another basic strengthening exercise is what's called a lunge. Okay, this is very good for the muscles again around that chain that we use for kicking and to strengthen the usual common areas which are weak. Okay, so the setup of this is quite simple. You just get into almost a walking stance. For this I keep the hands on the belt to avoid the knee. Okay, and from here you just keep the body tall and just drop the knee as low as you can and raise. Get as close to the floor as you can and up through that motion again. Try and make sure it's not too quick. Okay, you want to feel a nice controlled motion on the way down and on the way up. So this next exercise, again focusing on that area of the adductors, okay, we're going to use what's called a fire hydrant exercise. So you need to get a nice solid base on all fours, hands under the shoulders, belly button must face the floor, you don't want the body to turn here. Okay, now the objective here is to get the knee as high as possible, not the foot. So from here you raise, hold, and control. Okay, you can repeat this for a number of repetitions. Make sure that the body is facing the ground and not turning. Also make sure that the knee is the highest point. If that's easy and you want to progress it a little bit more, you can have the same setup with the leg extended, and it's the same idea. From here again you raise and relax. And relax. So the next strengthening exercise is going to work on some side planks, which is going to work on the core muscles as well as using the glutes to engage your body position, which are very important for kicking. Okay, the best part about this is it includes anti-rotation in terms of your core muscles, which is the core strength that you're going to need for kicking ability to have that tall posture and not sagging down as you kick. Okay, so we're going to go through that now. First of all, you just set up in a plank position. Try to keep a straight alignment from the knees all the way to the shoulders. So set that up first. Push the hips forward. That's step one. Once you have that, you can raise. This is the first position. And from here, you can work on raising the knees. And if that's easy, you can extend the feet. Same idea. Push the hips forward first. Raise. And just use sideline raises from there. Okay, so now with flexibility and strength taken care of, we can come to the main event, which is kicking. Of course, that's what we all want to improve, so this is where the time should be most spent once you've built a solid foundation in both flexibility and strength work. Okay, the kicking work should include these anyway. You'll always have your flexibility and strength included in your kicking, as well as other aspects such as balance. Okay, so for this exercise, you're going to need a partner or a target. Okay, this is called kick to your bust. So you raise the kicks. Okay, each level you can have it at raising every 3 kicks, 5, 10, whatever you like. Every single kick, it doesn't matter. Okay, so you find a way that works best. Start at a level that is easy to get in the kicks. Okay, the objective here is, we say if we're starting at between belt and badge level, it could be level number 1. If you make 3 kicks, you can go to the next level. But you cannot leave the foot drop, okay, or come to the floor. Okay, also the knee position must remain high the whole time, and try to remain keeping the tall posture as you kick. So here's the exercise. 1, 2, 3, goes up, keeping the knee. 1, 2, 3, up, 1, 2, 3, up, and so on. Okay, see how high you can get to this level. If you want to do this in a game, you can swap with the partner, changing the leg each time it comes back to you, seeing who can get to the highest level. Okay, so this next kicking exercise is designed to raise the knee level, as we spoke about earlier. So you use the hoop to constrain against this to ensure that the knee stays up and doesn't drop down in this type of fashion as the kick comes back. Okay, so the setup is just a regular side kick position, so hand against the wall. From here, you're going to hold the hoop, start maybe shoulder level, and you can increase it from there. So, you raise the knee, kick. You don't want the heel to come back, you want the knee to come out. So for this one, you can do reps of this, maybe up to 10, and then with a hold at the end also maybe, and you can vary the challenges depending on the group. Okay, so this next exercise can be done with front kick, turning kick, okay, and side kick. Alright, so basically it's all front leg development, so you want to take any steps or kicking from the back leg out of this exercise. So to do this, I use a hoop. I put the back leg in the hoop, front leg lift, kick, and you can drop. Every successful kick, level will raise. You may need to adjust the hoop as you get higher. When you miss, you'll swap over, and that will give you a chance to recover before moving on to your other leg. Okay, so what we're going to focus on here is using the wall to help build the side kick position. Okay, that's going to take away the little bit of strength required to hold, okay, but it will improve our posture position and our kicking a little bit. Okay, this is also considered a passive stretch, as you're holding the position with an external force. Okay, and then you can improve the height of your kick. Advanced level, you can take away the hold and hold it yourself with your eccentric holds and your side kick, and that will improve your strength for this kick. So, the setup is a nice straight line. Okay, make your side kick onto the wall, hold this position, pull the body forward and relax. Pull forward and relax. Again, this is working on the obliques to include this posture position. Advanced level, you can remove and hold. This exercise is a conditioning drill, really for the hips, so it's going to include slow motion and fast motion. You can do this without the wall, okay, or also with the wall. So I'll show you with the wall to begin. Setup is the same. Raise the knee, middle first. So you go 5 with the instep. Then fast, then high. And you can repeat this. Okay, so the sets and reps depend on the level. Okay, but you're trying to go from slow to fast, back to slow, really stressing on that hip and kicking muscles to have a better condition for your kicking.